Hello, my dear viewers. We are here in the Alfred Hitchcock Marathon. I just finished the sixth movie in this epic collection, the Masterpiece Collection, and very specifically, one that still stars Jimmy Stewart here. It's the man who knew too much. James Stewart and Doris Day stars a vacationing American couple who accidentally become involved in an international assassination plot and must take matters in their own hands after their son is kidnapped. Had to do an impersonation. A quote. You have muddled everything from the start, taking that child with you from Marrakesh. Don't you realize that Americans dislike having their children stolen as an ambassador? So let's get Doris Day, who is now a renowned singer. And let's get Jimmy Stewart, who portrays a doctor. Have them fly to Morocco, and they get involved in a scheme that involves an assassination. And let us have a song called Say Cara, Cara, that is Spanish, that Day refused to perform, considering calling it a forgettable children's song, but it went on to win an Academy Award and became the theme song for all 124 episodes of her TV show. I would say that's pretty gosh darn incredible, if you ask me. But how does this hold up? I enjoyed this a whole heck of a lot. It's a remake of the 1934 movie from Hitchcock, of course. And, Francis Trofate said that at first this was done by that the first one's done by an enthusiastic film buff, and then the second one was done by a professional. And I feel like this is definitely a well-produced professional film. But what I noticed is that some of the pacing, things felt a little too stretched. Now, this is 2025, so we are used to different styles. We're used to fast editing. This feels expansive. It feels full and great, but at the same time, it just feels like some things just drag for a while. Let me explain. There's a truly epic or operatic 12-minute scene with the Royal Albert Hall about maybe 60 years before Opeth performed there, where someone's going to get assassinated, and it is a truly great scene. It feels like it's the crescendo where everything's going to happen, and then they're going to have maybe 5 minutes of dialogue. But instead, it's like they have this epic scene, and then another 20 minutes to get a conflict to get their son, try and get their son back, and it just felt like it went on a little too long for me. I was like, maybe they could have trimmed some of the fat or whatever, some of the filler by maybe 10 minutes in this 10-15 minutes, and it would have just been truly amazing. But it's like, you got the couple that are talking about what about communication, here honey, take a sedative. Because I have some news to tell you of our son, but at the same time, I don't want you to go into an episode because he's been kidnapped. Well, you have to trust me here. I'm a doctor. And, it's the cultural curiosity of how they go to Marrakesh, Morocco, and they get to see different cultures. Cultural curiosity about opening your mind to something else, and you're seeing and thinking about they'll teach a little bit about how Arabic is spoken there, and how when they eat a piece of chicken, it's like you take the fingers and then you eat it like this, but if you use your entire hand, I don't know, it's like something sociable or something like that, I don't know, and you have the hand down on your lap to catch the crumbs. So it's interesting to at least see something. It's like you get enough of that, but also it leaves you wanting more to look on your own. That is what I like when it presents different themes, It's the themes of relationship communications and cultural curiosity and things like that, and also I guess international like relationships, I guess one could say, and morality choices like what one would do in certain circumstances when their child is kidnapped. And yeah, it's like their child gets kidnapped and they go all over, which adds to the overall epic operatic tale of the story, and everything is just so perfectly woven together. It's like it's grand, it's great. This is like what a remake should be. I haven't seen the original, but I'm just saying it's like with the same director and everything else, you're going to get pretty much like, okay, this is what I want. And it's like, how they're visiting everything is like the perform like I was looking and like, okay, so we're at a church, we're at a Ambrose chapel. I'm like, and then we get and what made me laugh a little bit was how the doctor goes to a taxidermy place with Ambrose Chapel 2Ps, and they get confused. Whilst Doris Day goes around and she like looks in the phone book, a chapel as in a church. And there are some pretty tense scenes. I enjoyed the tense scene inside the church because they do find their kid, but at the same time they all do manage to slip out, and at least it's some like police work and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see a little bit going on of like the Scotland Yard and everything else. So we get a lot of interesting motifs, I guess is the word. And it's like I like this. I mean, like we get some beautiful sets. I really enjoy the set of the Moroccan restaurant, the church, and of course the Royal Albert Hall. And just the fact that there's 12 minutes of no dialogue, just operatic singing, performance, and one gunshot. 124 edits, cuts, whatever you want. 124. I mean, it truly does feel grand and epic. So I gotta say, this is definitely an epic movie, even more so than probably than the other ones that I've read. It's like I love this grand scale of this, and I would like to see this movie made again by someone who understands Alfred Hitchcock, Christopher Nolan, maybe. So yeah, it's definitely one of those sequels that you think of like a remakes. It's like when you think of remakes by the same director, Cecil B. DeMille's, what was that? The Ten Commandments from the 1930s and then the 1950s comes in. And it feels like this is a remake that is truly great. But if it just weren't for everything just feeling slow. And it's like, I like it when things are, it's like trying to be slowly paced for the emotional struggle and turmoil. But at the same time, it just, by modern sensibilities, it just hasn't aged that particularly well. So that's my biggest gripe, is really it's just the pacing and towards the end. So yeah, I mean, if you want to watch a true epic that is definitely like an epic that is just all around and just you want to just see great mystery. And before I finish, there's also a scene that involves a bell tower where Jimmy is climbing, trying to escape a church, and he manages to ring a bell, and everyone's looking up at him. This is also seen in Vertigo, you see. So yeah, so I highly recommend you watch The Man Who Knew Too Much.